This is the Haunted Files Unplugged, where the lights are low, the stories are raw, and the truth is stranger than fiction. Join Mike Delcoro, Eric Vanderlaan, and their special guests as they dive into the dark corners of the paranormal. From hauntings and cryptids to UFO encounters and everything in between. No filters, no scripts, just pure, unfiltered conversation from the world beyond. You're listening to the Haunted Files Unplugged.
Holy motherfucker!
Happy Monday, everybody. I'm Eric Vanderlaan. I'm your host of the Haunted Files Unplugged radio show, and we're missing somebody. We're missing Mike. He's under the weather, but no worries. We got an amazing show. Our special guest tonight will be John Granstaff, aka Ghost Dad. Good friend of mine, veteran paranormal investigator, and I made a little intro, and if I can find it, I'm gonna play it. Here we go. Bam.
So I'm just in the bathroom, using the bathroom. Aaron was in there. We're talking. I have my bag out. I'm getting my stuff, getting a few things out. Aaron leaves, but I think he's still in there. So I'm hearing movement. I'm asking him, talking to him, and I hear like scuffling. I'm like, Aaron, so what about that? And he's not saying anything. So I'm like, Aaron, and I'm like, go around, look around. There's nobody in there. Swear to God, down inside the basement, just now.
Oh wow.
Yep, it's pretty sick.
All right. Without further ado, let's bring on our guests. Bam. What's up, my brother?
Good, bro. How are you doing, man? That was so cool. What a cool intro, man. That was really awesome. So funny that story at the Deering Estates, man. That was a wild little thing that happened, dude. Yeah, man. That was a good night. I enjoyed going down there with you guys. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is considered the most haunted location in Miami.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's almost a tie between Deering Estate and Gold Coast Railroad Museum for my most haunted location in Miami. And we were there a couple of weeks ago, right?
We're there. Yeah, no, absolutely. Good times there, actually. A lot
So,
of fun.
JP, tell the folks that are watching and listening who you are, what you do.
Yep. My name's JP Granstaff. I go by the Ghost Dad. It's kind of a moniker that was given to me by Scotty Burns, because I have two young boys that I bring with me a lot.
God rest her soul.
Yeah, God rest her soul. Rest in peace. I bring my kids with me a lot, to back when we were running events with War Party, they would come all the time. But I've been bringing my kids to locations since they were, 6 and 8, 5 and 7.
Yeah.
So for a very long time.
They're veterans now.
They are. Gabriel, especially, he's super into it. Adrian's my anchor man. He's the one who's he stays skeptic, keeps me grounded. So it's good to have him, tag along. But
Yeah, he is.
yeah, but that's where that's me in a nutshell. I've been investigating the paranormal since 2007. I'll tell you a quick story how I got started with that. Had a really good friend of mine lose his life in a car accident.
You're originally from Kentucky.
Originally from Kentucky. Yeah, we can take it all the way back there if you'd like. So I was born and raised in a small town in Kentucky called Princeton, Kentucky. It's a very small town, about 8,000 people or less now. And I grew up on a farm. It was a farmhouse that my grandfather, his family had built. It was an old farmhouse, didn't even have running water. We had an outhouse, believe it or not. And then my father purchased a trailer, a double wide trailer, and he put the trailer right beside the farmhouse and this is how hillbillies are. They create one giant out of all of this stuff. But that's where things started for me very early on with the paranormal. One of the most frightening experiences I had there is happened to me. It was a disembodied voice, and it scared the crap out of me. I think I was maybe 10 years old, but my father asked me to go pick some stuff up out of the den, and the den was in the old farmhouse. And to get to the den from the living room, which was in the trailer side, you had to walk down a hallway through the joining door that was the actually back door of the trailer that opened into another hallway that conjoined the two houses together. And then once you went through that little passageway, you're in the old house. And so, I would go down the hallway through that little passage, through a bedroom, in through a music room, because my dad was in a band. He played a lot of music. We lived so far out in the country that we didn't have any neighbors. So
Country.
The country, man. Then we would go into a kitchen, which wasn't used as our kitchen anymore. It was just kind of a storage area and things like that, into another bedroom, and then into the den. And I did all that, right? So I was walking back, and as I got back into the kitchen, I heard a voice ask for help. It said, "Help me." And I'm like, nope, I didn't hear that. I'm just going to keep walking.
How old were you?
I was probably 9 or 10. I was a child, I was scared though. And it said, please help me. And I took off running, and I ran back through the music room, back through that spare bedroom, back to that little passage to the door, and the door was locked going back into the trailer. And I'm banging on the door. My dad comes and opens the door. He's like, what's going on? What's going on? I said, Dad, I heard something scare the crap out of me. Something's asking for help. Later in life, I'm talking 10 years later, I found out that I had an aunt or great aunt or somebody had passed in that room. And she was so big that they couldn't, when they went to take her out, they couldn't take her out to the door. They had to cut a window, one of the windows in that kitchen out, and pass her through the window. So I don't know if that was who I was hearing at that time, but for a child, that was a pretty frightening thing. And then I've had other things happen out there. Both my brothers and I, we were just talking about the story about the coal miner that I saw. My little brother and I were on the bed. I was teaching him how to blow bubbles with, bubble gum. And we saw a big flash, and we looked up, and there was a person standing in the doorway. And we couldn't really tell who it was, but you could see a lot of the features. And down below him, there really wasn't a lot of body. It was just, and it was pretty brief, but we both saw it, and we jumped off the bed and we ran to go get our mom. And it was later, when I was about 13, doing a report for school, and having a conversation with my grandfather, who lived up the hill, who, again, his family built that house. Showed me these photos, and I recognized one of them, and it was one of his great uncles or something like that, who passed in a coal mining accident. And
Wow.
He was in that house. So very early on, that was the dabble in the paranormal I was having. Now, again, those were, I look at those experiences through a lens of a child. Your mind can, embellish a lot of that stuff. But when things really started ramping up for me into doing what I'm doing today, it started with an accident that happened with my friend, and he passed away in a car accident. And much like that guy that I saw that was standing in the doorway, I also saw him. I was on my bed. I was playing guitar. This is a couple of weeks after the fact, and I'm still very much mourning his death. I just feel a presence, and I look up and I see him walking into the room. So much so that I went to set my guitar down and go to get up, like I was astonished that he was coming in, but he was gone. And that got me really thinking and wondering what that was. Now, prior to this, I'm a man of faith. I grew up going to church. My grandfather was a preacher down in the West Indies and St. Martin. He's built a church down there. So I grew up with faith, a background in faith. So it was very taboo for me to even talk about these kinds of things. But I got really into looking at different faiths. I was studying Hinduism, all the polytheisms, the monotheisms, just to kind of see, get my own ideas of what those were.
Aerojet rocket facility, Satanism.
That I didn't dabble into Satanism, that's for sure.
That's what they've been dabbling over there, though.
Yeah, for sure. But that also led into near-death experiences. I study near-death experiences. Like I don't know how many I've read and watched on different YouTube channels and things like that. I got really into that, and there was a lot of commonality. And it didn't matter. The culture. What country this person who had the near-death experience was. There was a common thread to a lot of that, which is intriguing. So all of this.
Religions.
What's that?
Even the religions have a common thread.
Yeah, no, you're right. And this study of all this culminated into kind of doing this, right? So there was a movie that came out, I can't remember, I want to say like 2006, 2005, called White Noise. You ever heard it? It was Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
I saw that recently.
Oh yeah?
Wasn't he communicating with his wife through the TV?
Correct. That is correct. So that's exactly it. His wife turned up missing, and then they later found her, like she was murdered in a river or lake or something. Anyway, she was coming to him via static, white noise, through the TV, and he met them. He got introduced to that by a paranormal investigator who was doing EVP work. Speaks about EVP work during that movie. And
that explains everything, why you're the SB7 box king.
Well, I tell you, that's my favorite tool, 100%, man. I think that for me, that's in its purest form, one of the most, I guess, accurate. I don't want to say accurate. One of the most precise devices to really get communication, and we can get into
response.
Very intelligent responses, especially if you're locked in, you're into that. Joe from Joe Hunt's Ghost taught me that method of slowing those playbacks down, and once that happened, that was
the recorder.
That was it.
And can you explain people how that works?
Yeah, sure. So I use an SB7, which is just basically it's a detuned radio. It's got the tuner out of it, so it sweeps through radio frequencies, AM, FM. It depends on which channel you want to be on, and it sweeps. And you have a sweep rate. You can go, I can't remember how, like 150 upwards to 400, I think, in the sweep rate. You can go front to back, and it's sweeping through white noise and radio stations throughout the whatever you're around. The theory behind the SB7 is that communication can happen. Hey, Bree, communication can happen through the sweep range. And what's really cool about it is if you're getting a response over several sweeps, that to me locks in the fact that it is pure communication that you're having. The odds of you getting asking a question and getting an answer to that specific question over several sweeps it's astronomical, in my opinion.
Well, the
And
most incredible response, what you're talking about, that I ever had was at the Gold Coast Railroad Museum where we were at a few weekends ago. And flat out, I said, "Hey, can you say my name?" And right at the bat, Eric. Like,
yeah,
like, how random is that?
yeah.
How do you explain that?
And see, for me, when an SB7, when you're conducting an SB7 session, you're opening, you're pulling back the veil, right? And my theory on this is that we are constantly surrounded by, um, you know, energy, by spirits, by there's another veil, and we're pulling that veil back. And the SB7 it pierces that, and I don't know the science behind it, but what I do know is that I can replicate this in multiple locations, get very similar type of question and answers that are on point, no matter where I'm at. And I have a DR. I carry my DR with me everywhere I go. This is my most expensive piece in my bag, but the SB7 is what I go back to every single time.
Yeah. And I was just thinking that, we've been investigating. Like, I've known you for quite a long time. I probably invested out of everyone I know. I probably investigated with you the most.
Yeah.
Out of the places that we've investigated, like, what do you think? What would you say is the most active location? I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. No, it's Haunted Prison. I mean, that is the
That's where
for
we
me.
met.
Yeah, that's where we met. I want to say it was 2018 when we met. I think 2018 or
It
2019.
it's like about 10 years ago. Is that
Yeah,
crazy?
yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Right.
Uh,
You didn't have gray. You didn't have that much gray. Me either.
and I had a lot more hair too back then. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you're getting old, buddy. Doing what we do.
Yeah.
Now, the Belgrade prison was probably one of my favorite places, though I only got to go up there a handful of times. But I've had some of my most intense experiences there. For sure.
Just before they tore it down, none of us investigated where the officers' quarters were. Was just outside the perimeter
Mm.
of the prison, and it was just weird because like everything was left behind. All the records, there's like
Oh,
records of inmates. They even had a gym, and all the equipment was left behind, like
wow,
all
I didn't
stacked
do that. I
up.
didn't see that.
And I was getting shit in there. I was getting like EVPs, and it was like related to them working there, and it was just really weird.
I remember walking in the hospital and seeing X-rays, imaging, you know,
Yeah.
all over the floor, and like, they had the hospital beds. There was that one room in the very, very back of the hospital that had like 5 or 6 hospital beds all shoved up into a corner, and that one down the hallway. SB7 was going nuts in that place.
The best EVP I got was like someone, I can't remember exactly what they said, but they needed help. And it was like
Hey, Franny.
you could tell like the stress in their voice was pretty wild.
Yeah, that was my favorite place. You know what I mean? That Aaron captured on his FLIR that shadow figure, which was to this day is probably one of the best outside of that photo we captured, or not me personally, but that we were part of at Davy at the schoolhouse of that lady. The shadow figure that Aaron captured in his FLIR was probably one of the best paranormal photos I've ever seen. And we were up on the second tier of, I don't know what cell block, B or C or something like that. And he's shooting down where all the doors are, all the prisons cells are, and then it kicks off down this way. You see a shadow which has both arms, a head, a body, and they're looking down over the top of the rail. And his second photo is the shadow moving like this and walking off to the left. It blew my mind. You know what I mean? There at the Belgrade like that.
Just to give people an idea, I was just pulling up pictures here. Right. I'm not even gonna put up a video, but is like one of the cell blocks. I think this was cell block B. Share it. Remember that?
Yeah. Yep. Such a great location, man.
I remember there was a story that a kid that locked himself. He couldn't open up and he stuck there for like a long time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Cecile and I got a really good EVP there, man. She got the inmate's number, like the inmate number, whatever that is. You know what I mean? It was like a set of like C1 through whatever it was, but it was absolutely crazy that we got that. But you know, there at that location, at that church is where I got my attachment there. That was pretty heavy for me. That was 3 days of absolute hell. And that was very early on with yes, she is awesome. That was very early on in my war party days. Like I had just been with that was actually, I think that first night at the Belglade is when Scotty asked me to be a part of War Party, like the invitation War Party. So that was that.
Me too. Yep. That I was I just left Prism, and she's like, "Oh, you're at the War Party now." I'm like, "Okay."
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
The dude, you know, the SP7. I mean, like I said, it's my favorite tool. You know what I mean? I've gotten some very one of the coolest experiences I had with that. I was investigating building number 5 at BCC, Broward Community College, where they had that murder suicide there. And I don't know the year, but there was a gentleman by the name of Michael who took his girlfriend's life and then he took his own life. And
I heard about that. Yeah.
I was doing an SB7 session there, and I said, "How did you die?" And it's going, and it goes gunshot. You know what I mean? Drawn out over those sweeps.
Oh wow!
And then I said, "Give me the name of the man who shot, Mariah," and it goes Michael, just like that. You know what I mean? So it's for me, the odds of getting those two answers back to back on those two questions, it's just astronomical. Like that to me is pure communication. It's not as flashy as you see on some of these movies and things like that, or about the paranormal. That in its essence, pure paranormal communication. And that's why.
Remember that night we were at Hotel Redlands, the Redlands or Redlands Hotel, and this is after it was shut down, and we were friends with the owner, and he actually lived there, so we had the whole place by ourselves.
Yeah.
To investigate. We did that several nights, and we got some crazy stuff. Remember, I don't know if that was you or you were there with Zap, where there was a story that a prostitute was thrown out the window and died.
Zap was there.
And through the spirit box, you guys were picking up the actual, almost like the actual incident happening at that moment.
Yeah.
Through the spirit box, where there was argument and the woman getting thrown out.
Yeah. We were running it through the portal. Actually, we were doing a portal session during that time, and we had the SB7 hooked up in the portal and running it through the portal. And that's when Zap, he pretty much got that entire incident to come through the portal. It was mind blowing to me.
Yeah,
even videos. Crazy. To be honest with you, probably some of my archives somewhere stashed away.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, and then also we haven't been there together, not yet, at least, at the Aerojet rocket facility. Yeah. It's the only place where different devices were getting things related to the location and what was happening there. We were getting Satan multiple times to the spirit box. We were getting devil. We were getting ghost on the obulus. We were getting things on related to that on a recorder. How how mind-blowing is that? Like, why would those words that's related to that specific location be coming through these devices? Like, how could you explain that, right?
Well, I mean, you know, it has to be because of you know, first and foremost, that massive pentagram that's there, you know, and conjuring, you know, that kind of energy. You're opening something that I don't think you really understand. Or when people do these things, I don't
They
think
were
they really
doing
understand.
bloodletting rituals there.
Yeah, I mean, and there was animal sacrifices there. I mean, we
Yeah,
saw evidence
yeah.
of that happening there. So, you know, that's stuff that I don't really, you know, I'm not comfortable getting into those kinds of things, especially after having that attachment, you know, from the Belgrade prison, and
Yeah.
seeing how real it can be. You know, it's not just fun and games. You know, it's if you're not versed in what you're doing, which I wasn't at that time. You know, I remember it specifically. You know, you were there. Cecilia was there. There was a couple of us that stayed there, and we were getting that child spirit coming through, and then we thought was sounded like a male, aggressive male, back and forth, and there were
Did she
some
get
band.
punched one time?
So she got pinched there. I think I got scratched probably the second or third time there, but that wasn't in the church. But she did. She
Right.
got pinched sitting there during that session. I remember that specifically. But after that was all done, you know, and we were finished with the session, I went back into that church and tried to just pray over the space and try to clear it and cleanse it. And I'll never forget this, man. It's like Aaron and I were driving back, and Aaron was like, "Dude, do you feel that?" I'm like, "I don't feel nothing." You know, I was fine. He's like, "No, something's heavy, man." I did not feel anything. And he's like, "No, something's not right." And I'll never forget, you know, he stayed. I live in a cul-de-sac, and he stayed. He dropped me off, and he stayed out in my cul-de-sac after I'd even gone inside. And like he texted me, he's like, "Dude," he said, something's heavy. Something heavy is here. And this is like, you know, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'll never forget, man. It was that nothing really crazy that night. I mean, I saw a mist in my backyard that I thought was just something coming off the lake from behind my house. But you know, I had set my glasses, I had set my phone and my wallet down beside the bed. Yeah, in that church right there. That's it.
Yeah.
And the next morning I got up, and all three of those things were missing. And to this day, I still cannot find that pair of glasses. To this day, I cannot
That's
find it.
wild.
My phone was underneath the couch in the living room, and my wallet was underneath the bed in the very back bedroom. I have no clue how that happened. And then all the other stuff that happened, like the thing coming off and hit me in the face and breaking my teeth the next day, the radio that's been in my kitchen, the Bose radio that's been in there for, you know, at that time, almost 10 years after my wife and I had gotten married, you know, going off at the highest volume. And we never used it. That literally scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And,
No, there was definitely some dark shit going on in that church, because I felt it the same night. And that night I had Scotty bless me with holy water and cleanse me with sage. And dude,
Yeah.
I felt like this big weight lifted off my body. Like I felt so light. Like, but when I walked in the church, it was the opposite. I felt heavy, like something was like pulling me down. It was just really the oddest thing.
You have
And
to
then
look at it like this. You know what I mean? That church was in a prison, right? So that church is really a beacon of hope in a dark place, mentally speaking, right? Let's look at it like that. You know, from any dark entity that could have been in that area after the prison is closed down and stuff, that church is now the prize, because that's where all the love, all the hope, where people have given their life to Christ, is
well,
in that.
it's funny. It's funny that you say that, because I had a former inmate reach out to me, and he said a lot of men were having sex in that church.
Really? Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Desecrating it. There you go.
yeah.
Respect.
And then remember, there was a cult that was doing satanic worship there. Like when that night, it was still, everything was still fresh. The candles, all the spray painted symbolism and that was sprayed all over the walls and everything. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, it had a vibe to it, you know what I mean? But the EVPs we were getting there, the SB7 session that we were having, it all led to or culminated into that, experience that I had.
But yeah, that place was wild. That's a place that I'll never forget. It'll be implanted in my brain forever.
But dude, I mean, Gold Coast is just as haunted. I mean, there's some stuff going down there. Deering Estates. I mean, I was able to get what's her name who runs Deering, who on camera. I got her.
Oh, and she's a non-believer.
She is a non-believer. Jessica, and we were there. I have on my TikTok. There's a video of her and with me, and we're doing SB7 session.
It's on my YouTube channel. I made a video out of it. That whole session's in there. And nice. You know what? They play that.
Do they really?
They don't play that session, but parts of that video for their events.
But to get her name, I got her saying she's like she says non-believer, and then I said, all right, so we're doing an SB7 session, and I said, what's her name? And it comes out and says Jessica, like on cue. That blew me away. You know what I mean? For things
not
like
only
that.
her, it was saying other people's name. It said Ozzy. Ozzy is an employee there as well.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, it was calling people out by name.
And then it was saying people's names that was related to the Deering estate. I can't remember, but I remember. I mean, not to the Deering family.
I need to get back.
Family members.
I need to get back down there and investigate that place again. It's been.
You will soon.
Ready,
it's coming. Well, the stone house is shut down. They're renovating it, so only the Richmond Cottage is open. But man, I did all those events. I did like 14 events in 2 months.
Oh my god! Jeez, bro.
No rest, right? But no, dude, every single night, crazy things were happening. Disembodied voices, my shirt getting tugged, me getting touched, other people hearing disembodied voices, phantom smells of wax, which was really weird. Every single night, something was happening. And then the last event was for the Miami-Dade County Parks and Recreations executives.
Oh yeah,
dude, I had 3 spirit boxes running like automatically in each floor.
Yeah,
and it was just nothing but static, nothing else, no words, no voices, nothing, static, nothing was going on. So on the second floor, I go up there with the group, and all of a sudden, I start feeling nauseous. And I never get sick on an investigation. I start breaking out in cold sweats, and here I'm like, doing an investigation with these people around me watching me, and I'm like trying to shrug it off. And then Amina was there, and then after we finished, she's like, "Oh my God, Eric, you look like a ghost. You're white." So I went back downstairs, and we continued downstairs, and I started feeling better. And then I got to the point where I felt fine, like nothing ever happened. So at the end of the night, I go back up there. I start feeling the same thing, but on top of that, I smelled it like a smell of a dead animal. It was really weird.
Oh my
so I
God.
go downstairs to get Amina and Tori. She works at Deering Estate, so they could witness the smell. The smell is gone.
That's wow, dude. I mean, how do you explain something like that?
I don't know. And you know what? I left. As soon as I left the place, I felt fine. Went home, felt fine. Even before I got there, I felt fine. It was just that moment when I was on that second floor. And we weren't getting any evidence at all. It's just me getting sick.
It's funny how a place can affect you in so many different kinds of ways. I think
I might have been a residual. My gut feeling tells me that maybe I was feeling and experience someone had felt there a long time ago in that building.
You know, I was just about to say one of the most haunted places that I personally investigated is a house in Kentucky called the Beck House. The Beck House it's got a local legend to it, but it's been what happened there has been suppressed because what happened there happened around the same time as the Amityville Horror, and
Oh, wow.
what happened at the Amityville Horror became such a spectacle. They didn't want this to happen, so they suppressed a lot of this information. But the Beck House was a husband and a wife, and they had 3 children. She was divorcing him, and he decided to take the life of his 3 children and himself. So four deaths in that house. And that house that's the way they had that house, it's all fenced in with barbed wire, right? So you can't get on the property in that respect. And then the actual house itself has chicken wire all the way around it, all the way up, so that people, if you do happen to get through that first, fencing, you can't get into the second fencing. But I was allowed to go in and investigate this house by the owner. And this was years ago, man. And this was in the middle of summer in Kentucky. So it's as hot as Hades up there in Kentucky at that time. And as soon as you step onto the property, you could feel it. Now, maybe it's psycho, some stuff going on there in your brain, but you can feel it. But as soon as I got into the house, I was drenched in like some heaviness, something that I've never had before. And, I was doing some EVP stuff, and I was just trying to get a feel for it. And as I'm walking up the stairs to where the bedrooms were, I don't know exactly where the murders took place. I think upstairs. About halfway up, I ran through what felt like ice water. Now, this is, again, in the middle of summer in Kentucky. It's an open house. There's no AC on there. I mean, it's an abandoned house. I can show you pictures of it. But once I got to the top, I felt like slicing down my back, burning. And I start going down the stairs, and as I'm going down, the back of my shirt gets tugged, like pulled like that. And I took off, Eric, running out of that house. I was so scared. And a really good friend of mine was with me, and the owner was there too. And I'm like, dude, in my back, when I pulled my shirt up, there was scratches all down my back. So,
oh, wow.
No, whatever. I don't know if whatever haunts that place has been there forever, like it's just saturated into the ground, or it was the father that was there. A lot of people who I've told this story to, people who from around the area who know a little bit about the history, believe that the father was influenced by whatever was haunting that area to do what he did. But that to me is probably my most, outside of my attachment, probably my most intense, haunted thing that's ever happened to me. That was years and years.
But I got to pay some bills now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Got to pay the bills. I'm overdue on that. So here we go. Bam. What's up, everybody? I'm Eric, and this is Mike from the Haunted Files. And Mike, we got something special to tell everyone, right?
We do. We have an amazing product here. This is from Haunted Happy Hour, where they make spirit-infused coffee. And what's cool about this product right here is it's the Haunted Files edition. It's a Dark Isles brew. Yep, and it's got a blend of Irish cream, pistachio, and dark rum. A perfect blend to awaken your dark side, right, Mike? Hell yeah, it is. And if you're feeling sluggish or you are ready to investigate all night, this is for you, man. And it is amazing tasting. And not only that, but what did ParaFlixx do for us and for the fans?
Well, you're going to get a special discount code that's on the package, and you're going to be able to get 3 months for free ParaFlixx. And who can they watch, Mike?
Well, they can watch us and all the other amazing investigators on the ParaFlixx platform. So get yours today, and make sure you check out ParaFlixx and the Haunted Files.
And if you're feeling dead inside, get caffeinated with Haunted Happy Hour.
you ready to explore the unknown?
Eventually.
Brace yourself for a journey into the supernatural. ParaFlixx Paranormal Plus, your gateway to the paranormal, all-in-one streaming service. Dare to explore, dare to believe, dare to stream alone.
It does not want us here.
Sign up now and embark on a supernatural adventure like never before. ParaFlixx Paranormal Plus, the universal home of paranormal.
So, man, we are off to a great start with our season 4. We got a new episode coming out on the 27th. We just dropped the Ann Stevens house, that episode in Casadega. So I'm going to play that trailer now. And everyone check out ParaFlixx. I mean, it's $3.99 a month, and there's tons of paranormal shows if you're into that. Right, JP? I mean, Travel Channel, Discovery Plus. The only thing's new is Ghost Adventures. If you want to see something different, we're not the only show, so check us out. And here's our trailer for the new episode we just dropped. Bam.
Welcome to the Haunted Files.
And tonight we are investigating the Ann Stevens house. You ready to do this?
I am. Let's do it.
We're going to have the pleasure of investigating the Ann Stevens bed and breakfast. Super haunted. It goes back to the early 1900s. And the interesting fact is that this place is located in a spiritual camp.
The one misconception that drives me the most crazy is that we are a community of witches.
For more than 125 years, the quiet community of Casadega has been somewhat of a mystery to many Central Floridians, and people have lots of other misconceptions about it too.
We worship the devil. There's an evilness about us. As spiritualists, we don't even believe in the devil.
But for those in the know, Casadega is a gateway to the great unknown.
After we reopened this as a bed and breakfast, some of our guests began having experiences. Some were tucked in. One morning, their bed had been made. Others had seen a man in a Civil War uniform. And we learned that this person had been Ann Stevens' gardener.
As darkness settles in over this quiet little town, you can feel the shift in the energy. With our equipment in hand, we head in, prepared to document whatever we may encounter.
Can you get close to that box again? Please? Just let us know you're here.
Awesome.
Get out.
And we're
I swear, I'm looking across the hallway in the other room, and I feel like someone's peeping out, like a shadow.
I just got the chills.
Yeah, I felt that right there.
As soon as I passed the threshold.
He said devil, we went to the devil's chair.
In 900 feet, the destination is on your left, the Devil's Chair.
In Casadega, Florida, sits the Devil's Chair, a stone seat said to summon the devil himself. Legends say that at midnight he'll speak to you. Leave a beer, and by morning it's gone. A chilling mystery, and one of Florida's darkest urban legends.
What does the Devil's Chair mean to you?
Daddy.
Oh, wow.
Dude, that, and for people that are listening and watching, if you're not that far away from Florida, I mean, this place is close to Orlando. You can rent the place out for the whole night. We spent the whole night there. I slept like a baby, but when we were awake, there were some weird things going on there. That's for sure.
That's cool, man. No, that's awesome. You guys got that going on.
we actually did an episode there for Univision a few years back and got some activity. So it's a very cool place, and it's a cool little town. I mean, it's a spiritualist camp, so you got a lot of tarot card readers, people who do readings and seances, and they even had a haunted museum. It's pretty cool.
Well, dude, let's open that up a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I think you and I have been doing this long enough and investigating long enough that, you know, at least for me, I know for a fact that there is something going on. You know, that death is not the end, and you're able to communicate with something. So what's next? What would be the next step in this journey? Obviously, it is
paradise.
I mean, you know, I think there's a lot more to this than just you know, communicating with spirits, right? I think that there's, you know, and not to go down a crazy rabbit hole or to get off topic, but you know, there's a lot more different things, I think, to what we're in this timeline of our life that we're actually dipping into than what we're actually experiencing. Because I know, right, for me, I have my own truth of experiences to get me to that truth, knowing that spirits are real, that ghosts are real, that paranormal is real. What's the next logical step in that? You know, why are they still here? What's keeping them here? What's happening next? Why can't we get to that next level there? Is there something that we can do from as a living person we can help them, you know, in the death state? You know, these are questions that I need to get answered, man.
Well, the way I look at it is, like, for me, like, once you die, the way I look at it, you're going to heaven, you're going to eternity, and there's no concept of time. Time doesn't exist, because that's eternity, right? And I think since we're still living in time, and when people die and then they're crossing over to that next realm, for them it might seem like a split second, but since we're still living in time, it could be one day. I think it could be 10 years. It could be 1,000 years. I don't know. That's how I kind of look at it. And then, I don't know. I mean, you were talking about some of your experiences, like with your friend that passed away. I think also when people die, they want to reach out to their loved ones before they cross over. You hear a lot about that. And then you just got things that are like, you know, it's like a broken record. It's just like history. It's just like something that happened, like even like an argument or something that happened, or like a murder. Like it just happens like over and over. Like it just, you know, keeps, you know, like a broken record, you know? So I don't know. I mean, we're only here for a short while, and we'll be living in eternity, and we'll be laughing about like all the shit that we're doing now, because we don't know, right? We'll never know. We won't know until we die.
You know, that's the thing. I think, you know, though I am a man of faith, I'm still very open-minded. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell.
There's a weird thing that just shot down, like by your face.
By me?
Yeah, it was like a yellow streak. It wasn't a bug or anything.
No, that's interesting.
It wasn't dust. It was like a straight line right to your like right shoulder.
My cat is down below me. I don't know, but he's on the floor. He just came in, so I don't know. Yeah. But dude, I mean, you know, for me, I think that there's a lot more to this than what we're tapping into. I think we definitely tapped into something, and I think, you know, both of us are seasoned enough to know when we're connecting with something, you know, how to interact with that, or how to try to get information out of it. Because that's kind of where I'm starting to trend now. You know what I mean? Like what's happening, you know, what's going on in that particular space. Because, you know, again, back with the SB7, you know, you're getting some you know, intelligent responses, which means that they're existing in that same time existing wherever that time is on that timeline. We're coexisting at the same time to be able to communicate like that, but they're in a different dimension or a different realm or something's going on there. And I'm just trying to, gather it all in. So, I'm going to start looking into a lot of different things outside of just, running your run of the mill EVP questions and things like that. I want to expand into the next step of this and try to figure out really what's happening. Because I mean, if we can, without,
like, we're evolving, right?
Very much that.
How we're doing this.
It's not that I'm bored with this. I'm not saying that. I paranormal is my passion. I'm doing this as my passion.
You can never get bored with this. No. Never. I can't see it happening.
But I almost feel like I have a duty now to take it to the next, not to the next level, but to take it the next step, to see if now we can bridge that gap there, that veil, and really start to see if there's something. Because I mean, I've communicated at the Deering Estates in the wine cellar. I had an SB7 session where I had a spirit tell me that there is no heaven. So why am I getting those types of answers for? Is there something else going on there? So that's where my brain's at right now. But from a paranormal investigating perspective,
yeah. Unless it's maybe something that wasn't in heaven or supposed to be in heaven.
Now there's where the conversation starts to go, right?
Yeah.
I truly believe.
They're trying to test your faith.
Well, dude,
right?
I know that I've encountered things that were never human before. That's facts. I've investigated all over the place, especially down in the Caribbean. in Puerto Rico, St. Martin, St. Thomas. went into that prison that Fort Prison there that was built like in the 1600s. The sadness that is imprinted into those walls just in that particular place, you could tell that
I think all that energy stays there. The actual building, the stone, the wood.
The stone,
it's like a Richmond cottage,
right?
Like you feel it when you walk in there.
It's saturated in that kind of stuff, man. And that's, I don't know, like my mind, where my brain is wanting to go with all this kind of stuff. I want to dig deeper and really get to the meat and potatoes of this, versus just kind of, again, with, working with you and Mike and, all the other investigators, Scotty and Zap and everybody, having that opportunity for me has proven that there is spirits, right? And that's where I need to now move into that next section and really what's going on.
Right. I went to a Christian high school, and you know how on Facebook people send you on your birthday, they send you a happy birthday messages or post or whatever. And I have this guy that I went to high school with. He's a pastor, and he's like, "Happy birthday, Eric!" But talking to spirits is nothing more than talking to the devil.
I get a lot of that too, man. Yeah. I think I think that's just being closed-minded on certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we've done residential cases, and I think I'm gonna say it really short. Father Bishop Long, he has his own show. He's been several times on Ghost Adventures. He looks at us like people, paranormal investigators who go out and help people and do residential cases, that we're like a ministry.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll travel like hours to someone's house sometimes.
Yeah.
We'll spend our own money on gas, maybe a hotel.
Yep.
All the, would you say, thousands of dollars we spent on our equipment, and we don't ask for a dime.
Yeah.
And he was saying that, he has investigators that he reaches out to. It's like, "Hey, I got this request. Someone says something's going on in our house. Can you reach out to them and, investigate it and let me know what's going on? Tell me what you think." But I mean, we do this for pleasure, but more like, I don't know, more curiosity. it's almost getting into, for me, the spiritual level, because like I was about like getting evidence. I'm like now more about like experiencing things and getting my feels. And
That's what I'm talking.
sometimes,
Like I said, it's like your words. You're evolving into something else.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna get rid of my equipment. I'm still gonna try to capture equipment, but like, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I didn't even carry much when we were at Gold Coast that night. I was just like hanging out with everyone, wanting to see what everyone was getting, and I don't know.
I think there's some people out there that do have a gift that are very connected, and maybe that is something that is through their lineage of who knows how they got to that. I don't have that gift, so I'm going to have to use equipment. You know what I mean? The SB7 is
I think you got it though. You just got to work on it.
I think I've opened up enough doors that it's probably hanging out with me all the time now, and that never close the doors. That's my problem. I'll open them all up and I'll never close them. So my wife, she's always had some type of sensitivity. She's very empathetic person. She has ups and downs, and that's why she never comes out, investigates with us, because she doesn't want to open herself up. And she said she'll support me as long as I don't ever bring anything home. So
your ass is sleeping on the lawn.
That's it.
All right. Well, we're at the end of the night. JP, tell people where they can follow you.
Well, I've got my TikTok, which is _GhostDad Paranormal. That's kind of where I post a lot of the stuff. I've started putting a lot more on Instagram. I got a little YouTube channel now that I've had for a while, but I've never really done anything with. That's starting to get a little bit of traction. And, just kind of, I mean, I'm not trying to build a brand or anything. I just want to, get out there and I investigate with a lot of integrity. All the evidence that I bring to the table, it's stuff that I've gotten out in the field, and I'm bringing it, I'm trying to be a messenger and say, hey, look, this is really going on out there. So, but TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, that's where you'll find me. All the Ghost Dad on all those platforms.
It's our version of show and tell. We're just showing people what we capture, and then you take what your thoughts from it.
Perfectly said, Eric. Perfectly said, bro.
All right. And me personally, you can find me, Ghost Hunter of South Florida, on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Eric Vanderlaan. Also, for those of you, please subscribe and like to the Haunted Files Unplugged radio show. We very much appreciate that. Also, check out our latest episode. We have dropped on ParaFlixx, the Haunted Files. Also, coming out with Patty and Agree. Can you believe that? We had an episode coming out with Patty and Agree. That's pretty amazing. So that's coming out on the 27th. And you get ready, fasten your seatbelts, because the next episode after that's going to blow your mind away. All right.
Thanks for everybody in the chat. Franny, appreciate all you guys.
All right. Everyone have a good night and peace.
Bye.
Oh, wait. Outro.